This is bad comedy.
Hello and welcome to the Swedish Transformers podcast. And I am Linda, the loyal Autobot.
And with me, Gustav, the treacherous Decepticon fellow.
And we have a guest, Alex. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Hello, my name is Alex Milne. I'm a North American comic book artist, and primarily over the last 15 plus years, I've been working in Transformer comics.
Awesome. I thought I'll start a little bit of a backstory that you worked with Dreamwave on Transformers Energon, and then later on with IDW, where you did the pencil work to More Than Meets the Eye and some covers with Spotlight Cup, Transformers Animated The Arrival issue 1, and Ghostbusters the issue 1 and 4. And oh my god, the level of details in your artwork. Yeah, I think that was his. That was that. With the little background.
Well, if you want to be a little bit more specific, I started out in IDW doing the movie adaptation comics. I also did Megatron Origins. Then Drift miniseries, more movie comics, The Reign of Starscream. Then I got to work on the ongoing books. That's where I met James Roberts. After that, moved on to More Than Meets the Eye. After that, I did a single issue of Optimus Prime, issue 4. I did issue 13 of Lost Light. Then I also did the ROM versus Transformers miniseries, which I really love. I did the Unicron series, and the most recent thing that has been published are 2 issues of Transformers Galaxies, the Cliffjumper story, and Transformers versus Terminator miniseries.
Nice.
Yes, I love both of the miniseries. They're really nice.
Yeah, like the Drift miniseries, and I love the Cup Spotlight. The cover also of that is beautiful.
That was the first cover I did for IDW.
That was beautiful, like the details and the hands and stuff like that. It's kind of simple on the top, but the further down you come, there's just more details and it's just chaos, and I love it. Really cool. Did you also take like reference pictures of your own hands to make all of the other hands?
No. Like my background is scientific and technical illustration, so I have somewhat of an understanding of that kind of stuff, so it's just making it work out of my head. But you can always fall back on watching the old cartoons or anime shows like Gundam and any of the super detailed mech stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have a lot of reference behind me for that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. Also, did you redesign some of the characters to the let me see, More Than Meets the Eye?
Yeah. The series was started out by James Roberts and Nick Roach for the first issue, and Nick had redesigned all the main cast. So I felt that was the direction we're going to go in. So any character that showed up, I was like, okay, they get a redesign to fit within the series. And some of the designs that Nick came up with, he had some really cool designs, but the alt modes they came up with didn't fit within the story that James wanted. So I had to alter the alt modes, but still retain the robot designs that Nick came up with. So I did that for Rodimus and Ultra Magnus.
Yeah. Is there any character like that is your favorite that you created?
I will always probably default to Tarn.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, are you an Autobot or a Decepticon? Or somewhere in the middle?
I'll probably be Decepticon.
Yeah.
I like the bad guys.
Yeah. Then you will be a great friend with Gustav. Yeah, Gustav. Speaking
Yes.
of the troll, would you like to take the questions of the Transformers?
I can try, but troll, Linda, that was a little harsh. But okay, I can do it. I'm
You
more
can
of a
do it.
scraplet myself.
It's the same thing, different name.
Exactly. So, Alex, we now know that you are a Decepticon more than an Autobot. But what Transformer character would you be if you could choose one?
Ooh, a good question. Is it from the comics or the cartoons?
That's up to you.
I guess I would be Galvatron, but Galvatron from the movie. So the one voiced by Leonard Nimoy. That's like one of my favorite characters.
Good choice.
That's a really cool choice, yeah.
Yeah.
Then I would be Unicron, for I want Orson Welles' voice.
Who doesn't?
Exactly. Then you have, is Galvatron also your favorite? Is
Who's
Galvatron also your favorite Transformer?
I have a few, but Galvatron has always been one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So,
How do you like the adaptation of him in the new Netflix series, or haven't you seen it?
I don't watch the new shows.
We will have to wait until they're old shows.
Maybe.
We will ask you in 10 years again.
Yeah. I might come back to it.
Maybe. What's your relationship to the Transformers franchise? How did you start?
Well, when I was in school, or do you want me to go all the way back to like when I was a kid
Please
growing
do.
up? Well, I was a typical 80s kid growing up watching the show. So I had the toys and I watched the show religiously. I remember my mom taking me to see the movie in the theater. I saw it 3 times in the theater. The second time was I remember crying because there was a woman sitting in front of me with a big hat, and it was like blocking my view of the screen. So, and the worst part was like my mom switched seats with me, and then the woman switched seats, and I was like,
Come on.
As a kid, I'm just like, what's going on here? Of course, you always cry when Optimus Prime dies because that's an emotional moment. After that, like I read the comics and everything. I remember buying my last issue of the original Marvel comics I bought was 79, The Last Autobot. I never was able to find 80, so I never got the very end, but I know how it turns out now. When I was in school, like in college, my illustration program had a 1-month work placement, and at that time, Dreamwave was around. So I sent in a portfolio, and they picked me up to do a work placement there, and I got to work on the Armada More Than Meets the Eye profile books. I started out doing alt modes, and then randomly I was like doodling a robot one day, and they're like, "Oh, you can draw robots too." So they tossed me a couple robots to draw profile pictures for, and then at the end, one of the editors there was like, "Hey, you want to draw the last page of the Armada book? It's a comic page." So I was like, "Yeah, sure." I did that, and my work placement was up, and I was like saying, "Well, thanks for having me." And they're like, "You're leaving?" They're like, "We still have work for you if you like." And I was like, "All right, I still have school." So they kept throwing me profiles until I was done school, and then they're like, "Okay, here's the Energon, take it." And pretty much after that, it was just moving around to whoever had the title, the publisher.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it that you didn't get so well paid during the Energon Transformers Energon project?
I got paid just about everything that I was owed. The only books I didn't get paid for were the last 2 issues that I did. That's when the company was going into trouble. But
yeah.
Speaking of trouble, the Dreamway crash with the Transformers. Could you describe that for us? It was a chaos, what I heard.
It's what happens when a company goes bankrupt. Just things fell apart.
Did you have any forewarning?
You could kind of tell when people started to pack up their offices that stuff was starting to close down. So, but that was a long time ago, and I don't feel any ill will about that.
We fans do. There are a lot of stories that were never told that we wanted to be told.
Yeah.
Oh, you get that with a lot of books and stuff when that happens.
It's the same with every story.
It's regrettable, but
shit happens.
As I say, shit happens.
Yeah.
It's best not to get like too obsessed with that kind of stuff. Like, there are bigger issues in the world to be worried about. So,
do you prefer to draw the robot mode or the alt mode of the Transformers?
Well, everybody would prefer to draw the robot mode. Drawing the alt mode is somewhat easier depending how well you can handle perspective. So for me, I like inking the alt modes because they go by super quick. Drawing the robots, I put a lot of detail into them, so that can be a bit time consuming.
Yeah, I figure getting every piece to fit in like this looks like it fits in the other mode. It must be really hard.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah. What was your favorite book to work on?
ROM versus Transformers.
Yeah, I bought it, but I haven't gotten to reading it yet.
The greatest part about that book was I had a lot more creative input with it. So we were coming up with the main character Star Drive, which I gave her name because they didn't have a name for her at the moment. I pitched the idea since they weren't sure if she was going to be a car or a jet. I'm like, can she be a triple changer? Is that something that we can do? So she became a triple changer. The scripts were set up in the old-fashioned Marvel plot style script, so I would just get a basic plot of what was going on in the book, and then I would basically create the pages from that. So I had a lot more input with like the pace and the storytelling there, and then they would go in and add the dialogue afterwards. So it was a very fun experience.
That's really nice.
Yeah, I like how you did with the triple change, but I can't decide. Can't I have both?
Both.
Yeah.
Both is good.
I can't have both.
Yeah.
And if you do, you're drawing a comic book, we say. What writer do you prefer to draw? What stories are more interesting?
I don't have a writer that I would like over another. I find each one is unique and different, so I like the challenges that gives me to work with them. I prefer stories that are heavily sci-fi based or horror based. Those are my preferences. Stuff that has a decent amount of action. I don't want to draw a whole book of talking heads, but I would like to have like some sort of conflict in there, just so that we have some interesting moments. But I'm fine drawing pretty much anything. Like I'm open to drawing any type of story that comes my way. You as an artist, you have to find new and creative ways of making stuff interesting. So I take any new script as that kind of challenge.
That's really good. Yeah.
And what artist do you prefer to color your work afterward?
I've worked a lot with Josh Perez. That we basically have an understanding of, if I draw something a certain way, I know he's going to color it a certain way. So I prefer working with him because I've worked with him since Dreamwave. So we know our styles very well. But I'm open to working with a lot of people. The annual I just completed, I worked with Jean-Paul Beauvais on, so that was a fun experience.
Just a question there from me before I forget it. Do you change your inking style, or do you change your ink if you know who's going to work on the colors, or do you just go for it and the colorist just has to deal with it?
Yeah, I'm probably in that second category of like, I do what I want and then they have to deal with the problems I created. Only because for me personally, I'm only looking at it as a black and white drawing. So I have to be happy with the look of it in black and white. If now with the most recent book, like the Transformers versus Terminator series, I added a lot more cross-hatching into that, just because I wanted to try something different, which I'll do on occasion, because that's how you learn and grow as an artist, is to try something different. It might not work out in the beginning, but eventually you get it to a point that you're comfortable with it.
Yeah. During your career working with the Transformers, what is your worst nightmare to work with, so to speak? It doesn't have to be a nightmare in a bad way. It could be a funny way or something that was truly difficult for you.
A nightmare for me is handing in a page and then the book, waiting for the whole book to be completed, and then that's when there's an edit from Hasbro being like, this needs to be changed here. And it's like, oh, couldn't you have told me that during when I had it in pencils so I could, erase easily instead of having to re-ink and paste a new section of a page down? Like, I don't understand how they work sometimes. Also, they could sometimes they're not forthcoming with all the reference. They'll give you reference, but there might be a back shot of a character that you need to draw, and I will draw it, and then they'll be like, no, that's wrong. I'll be like, well, I don't have the reference. I asked you for it, but you didn't give it to me. So what am I supposed to do?
Is this a common thing?
It's not always a common thing. It depends on who you're working with there, who's in charge of the project and stuff like that. Just sometimes everybody's like busy company and stuff like that. Stuff gets overlooked. They think that they've sent you enough. To me, it's never enough. You want like the most detailed pictures you can get, so you can get everything as accurate as possible, especially if you're working on something that Hasbro has like a super vested interest in. Like, they want it to, like, if it's packaging art, right? They want it to look like the toy there. So it's important to have all the details from every angle there so that you can draw it, because they're not asking you to draw the picture from the reference they send you. They want a dynamic picture there. So it's your job to interpret that in a dynamic way. But sometimes that means you need to see a 3D view of it in a way, like a front, back, side, top, bottom, so you can figure out all those angles.
It's all the angles. If a fan wants to hook you up, do you do commissions?
I do. They're currently not open at the moment because I have a large amount to finish up. when that is more reasonable, I will open them up again, and I'll post links to that on my social media.
Yeah, so you have to be on your toes, fans. Would you like to ask some artist questions now, Linda?
Yeah. Just saying that for those who has been watching on this YouTube channel and stuff like that, who can see my face, it's an eye infection. It's nothing dangerous, I hope.
It's Emperata. I'm sorry, Linda.
Yeah, it's just... but yeah, artist questions. The art school or school that you went through, or what art school did you go to put it simple?
I went to a school called Sheridan College.
Mm.
They had the one of the best illustration programs in the country. Their animation department was also quite well known. Like for the longest time, Disney would take students from there, like hire students to be animators. So the art program at Sheridan was like one of the best. So that's what I strove for.
Yeah, I put a lot of. Oh, sorry, my English is not working today. It's been a rough day. I was looking at the comics again, and I saw all of these details that you've been drawing. And I was kind of wondering, have you been working with cars or in an industrial, some industrial jobs? Like, where do you get your visual library from?
Well, as I mentioned, like in my intro, I'm a student of scientific and technical illustration. So technical illustration, the technical part of it, was going off of blueprints and stuff to make isometric or 3D drawings of like a water pump or like certain mechanical instruments there. I found that interesting. It could be a little boring at times. Now I look back, I'd be like, I could have been a little bit more on top of my game in class for those classes. The scientific stuff was studying anatomy and other stuff. Then I had like an architectural rendering class and stuff. So I've always been fascinated with like mechanical buildings, cars, and stuff like that. I guess like some of the mechanical details is my love of anime and like Macross and Gundam, Tekkaman Blade, stuff like that.
Yeah. Awesome. It looks really good.
A little question there. What is your favorite of all your STU comic book collection or manga collection? What is your favorite series? Besides Transformers, because of that, of course, that's the favorite. So.
Naruto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. What do you prefer, digital or traditional, or does it like maybe change depending on what you work on?
I still work traditional. I'm not an overly big fan of digital for drawing. I'm not knocking it. Like I'm amazed by what some people can get accomplished. But I can do something similar also by hand, and then I have the original drawing in hand, so that if somebody wanted it, I could sell it to them.
Yeah,
that helps. How if you don't to like an additional boost in income, which a lot of comic book artists have to think of because it's not the highest paying job in the world.
Yeah. Sadly, I think inkers are doing amazing job. Also, the colorist, like, I don't know too much about the comic book industry, but I have done some color work for comic books, and it's fun. It's fine. It works. And sometimes I'll be working with a dude who is doing the inking basically, and I'm thinking sometimes like, what do you want me to do here? And most of the times it's just like, okay, yeah, I have to just deal with it and just try to figure out what the inker has been thinking about. It hasn't been catastrophic, but it has sometimes been like, yeah, we're all kind of noobs. No one knows what they're doing 100%, and you just try to do the best situation of that work.
That's me right now because I'm doing a series of 5 covers. I can't talk about what it is, but I'm also doing the coloring for them too.
Yeah.
So I get my detailed line art, and then I'm like, oh, I have to color this now. Okay,
Shit.
this is going to take a while.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not as good as Josh for coloring, so.
Well, at least you're trying, you know?
Yeah.
Are you coloring it in Photoshop or digital, I guess?
Yeah, I'm coloring it in Photoshop.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple to do that in Photoshop. If something is wrong, you don't have to do it over again, which is pretty nice.
That depends. There might be a time when I figure out that I've been coloring on the wrong layer for a while, and then I'm like, oh, do I erase? Do I do it all over again, or do I just keep it and then have to worry about if I have to edit anything? I'm like, oh,
just keep it.
like that's no. Sometimes I'm like, I can't because you never know if you need like an edit to a certain color. So
yeah.
But
Yeah.
still better than doing it on the original. Oh, I'm sorry, Inker. You have to do this all over again. I made a boo-boo.
Yeah, I mean, if like, I think a little bit like this, that if you're having the original and actually painting it traditional, then I guess you can just cut it out and put in a new piece. Just print it, I guess. I don't know. I would maybe do that. It would be shameful, but hey, okay. Anyway, what tools do you use for your inking? Your favorite tools, maybe?
Well, I draw with where is my pencil? Normally I just use like this kind of standard pencil for drawing. I use a mechanical one for when I want more detailed lines. When I ink, right now I'm just using microns.
I have those too. They're perfect.
And then I have brush pen also.
Yeah. What mark is that that brush pen?
It's a Pentel pocket brush.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't use the ink that they give with it. I use a Pedograph ink.
Okay, yeah.
It's hard to refill the cartridges. Like I'll use up the ink cartridge that they give me until it's empty, and then I'll refill with the ink that I like. Because the ink that they give when you're laying down a large black area, it looks can gray out a bit.
Yeah, okay. Is it the new ink that you put in, is it ink that still is it doesn't become active when you put in water on it, like it's waterproof kind of?
Yeah, this should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is waterproof.
Yeah.
But even if you're using a waterproof ink, if you touch it with marker, it's going to become active. Especially if you touch it with a yellow marker or any of the light colors, it's gonna activate. And
it's I guess it's the alcohol. Day. Yeah.
So when I do commissions and everything, I usually just draw with the micron first, and then I erase the pencil, and then I color with the markers, and then I fill in when I go all the coloring's done. Then I fill in the black areas so that none of that ink will interact with the marker.
Yeah, that's a smart trick. Yeah, that's good. What artists do you look up for, or up to? Sorry.
That's a huge list.
Yeah. Top 3.
Top 3. Oh, that's tough. You're making me choose. Currently, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, and Sean Gordon Murphy.
Yeah. Recognize some of those. Yeah, very good. Inkers also, right?
They do inking themselves
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. How do you feel that your art has developed during the years doing robots and Transformers?
I'll say that I feel like my storytelling's gotten better over the years.
Mm.
I'm not making some of the stupid mistakes I made when I was younger.
Mm.
So I still like adding a lot of detail in, so that is a balancing act to how detailed I want to make the page. Will it still be readable? Sometimes I can get a little carried away and I'll be like, oh, that's not standing out as well as I would have liked it to. But so again, it's still a learning process. So drawing robots I can probably do in my sleep now. So
Yeah. I saw some sketch you did on a convention some time back ago, and you just sketched in, oh, who was it? Chrome Dome, I think it was. And it went really fast. I think in 7 minutes you had his portrait down. It was really good, really fast.
so something that gets brought up at a lot of conventions, and it's a story I tell, and I still find it amusing but a little scary too, is I can draw movie Starscream from memory.
Whoa.
So because I worked on the book Reign of Starscream, so I was drawing him so much that now I'm just like, yeah, it's captured in my arm. It's like muscle memory. I can just draw him.
I mean, actually, it's not surprising because you drew him so many times. It's just there. It's like that's how it works. Yeah, like so. Why did you decide to make Transformers with so many details?
It's just something I like. I like
Yeah.
detailed art. When I worked at Dreamwave, there was an artist, Don Figueroa, who did detailed work, and I was like, it's like, you know what, this is good. This is how I feel that they should look here. He had a nice balance for it. Then seeing some anime shows like Gundam and stuff, I'm like, oh, they figured out how to make the mechanics of a robot work. That I'm like, they figured out all the joint rotations and the shoulder movements and everything. And I'm like, that's how Transformers should work too. There, so I
Yeah.
incorporated some of that into the work also.
Have you come up with any of your own designs of how a shoulder joint would work?
It's most of them are pretty much the same, because the basic fundamentals have already been worked out. Like you need it to go up like that. You need a rotating part to go around like that. So basically, you have like a joint that moves up, and then another one that rotates around.
Yeah,
So,
like a ball joint and
yeah.
yeah, hinge joint and ball joints. Let's see, did I have anything more? Yeah, since you're an inker, have you done Inktober or have you heard of it?
I have. I've done it. There was one year I actually did all of it. Like I got through all 31 of them.
Nice. Which year? What did you do?
Oh yeah. I made sure not to draw any Transformers at all. So I didn't do anything that was expected of me. So it probably wasn't popular. Wasn't much chance. I basically did characters and that of my own choosing. I just wanted to draw something different. So I thought it was the perfect opportunity. Not saying I didn't draw robots, but like they weren't Transformers at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Inktober is about, to actually just do what you like or what the prompt is saying. I've been following a couple of Inktober projects from people, and I've done it myself, also 31 days. Not the latest one because, well, life happens.
Yep.
But are you gonna do Inktober? Let's see, this year.
I guess I'll have to wait to find out.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it.
Like I can always start, but like there'll be times where it's like, oh, you get 5 drawings and then deadlines happen. It's like, oh, can't do it anymore.
Life happens. It's not a must. I mean, some do it only on the weekends and stuff like that because I mean, life is unexpected. Shit happens. Those were my artist questions. Is there anything more you would like to mention in this subject?
About art?
Yeah.
I guess for people that are interested in it, don't give up. Don't get discouraged if stuff doesn't work out right away. It is a learning process. You got to keep at it. Don't compare yourself with others ever. Like, be inspired by other people that you like their work and you want to take inspiration from, but don't ever compare yourself to them. Just do what you want to do and just keep at it, because eventually you'll get there. They say that there's a certain amount of time that you're going to be drawing bad, like poorly, and then there'll be that moment where it clicks and you figure something out, and then your drawings start to tighten up and you understand more, you learn more. I always am trying to improve from what I've done in the past, so I'm never satisfied with my work afterwards. I'll be satisfied with it at the moment, and then say a month later I'll look at it and I'll be like, I can do better now. So just don't get down because something's not working out. If you're working on a drawing and it's not coming out the way you want it, take a break, step away, come back to it a little later with like a fresh perspective, and just keep trying. And don't feel bad if you have to erase either. Erasing is not a sin. I do it a lot. Sometimes I'll have worked out an entire figure and I'll be like, oh, I don't like that. Now it's like too big, and I will erase a page that I've spent 3 hours on. I'll be like, oh, and I'll redraw. Like that. I guess people that work digital, that's the one benefit, is like they can size and scale their work. So if they have any issues like that, but I still like doing it by hand, and I don't mind erasing because like I can draw things pretty fast to begin with.
Yeah,
I try and make sure that I erase that kind of stuff during like the prelim stage when you're just have the basic shapes roughed in before you start adding any of the rendering detail.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I've been my own company soon for 4 years in my art, and the thing with I've heard sometimes too that you shouldn't erase, you should be able to draw without erasing, and it's not a shame to erase. It's not a shame to use white ink and cover up your mistakes or put a post-it note on your sketch and redo it again and be persistent with your art.
Yeah.
And you're a professional. You've been working with Transformers for a long time and you're still trying to get better. Like, being an artist is kind of a lifestyle, I would say.
I'd say if you're an artist, you're a student for life. You're always learning something.
Yeah.
You're always trying to achieve new goals, to master new techniques. So you once you feel like you've reached the pinnacle there, then what's the point in going on, right? Like I think that's when you become stagnant with your work. To always strive to do better, strive to do something different, and don't be afraid to take those steps. Another thing I would say to people who are wanting to be comic artists, don't get hung up on the tools right away. It doesn't matter what kind of pencil you use. Any pencil will do. You don't need
Even in digital.
you don't need a $30 pencil or a $20 pencil to make good art.
Yeah.
I can use a standard school HB pencil, and I'll still draw the same way. It's all about how you use what is given to you. Of course, there are some tools that are better quality that handle a bit better, but you don't need to be hung up on that. Just be comfortable with what you can afford right away, and then worry about that later. Like, it'll all come eventually.
Yeah, and I can also say that doing digital art is not about the program that you use or the drawing tablet that you use. Like, I have a simple little Wacom tablet that I bought because my old broke and I couldn't afford a bigger one, so I downsized, and I noticed that size doesn't matter when it comes to drawing tablets. I know it looks cool and fancy with these big drawing tablets or the what do you call it? Synthetic? The Cintiq, yeah, that you can draw directly on your picture. I wouldn't say that it would make you to a better artist. It might help you, maybe. I've used one, it sucked. So yeah, I definitely think that tools doesn't make you to a better artist, but tools can definitely help. Like I have a tool in my drawer that is a regular kitchen knife, and I'm using that to scrape up paper to make texture. And that's like one of my favorite tools. I'm just scratching up the papers because anger issues, maybe, but also because it makes a beautiful texture. Breaking rules.
Yeah. The struggle is real, as they say.
Yeah.
I know. I just started some drawings, and it's terrible.
Oh yeah, Gustav, you got a drawing tablet.
K paintings are a great in comparison.
Did you buy that tablet, by the way?
Yeah, I bought that, but
Yeah.
I'm not better with that. But I will keep trying.
At least you have it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had another question, but I actually forgot about it. Ooh, help me, Gustav. What did I have in my mind?
That I don't know. Think about it, and I will ask this. Any projects you're working on right now that you can mention, or is it all secret?
The only project that I can mention is the Transformers Annual, which should be out the end of this month if everything goes according to plan. It's a 30-page annual written by Brian Ruckley, art by me, and colors by John Paul Beauvais.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cover was
new era.
Yeah. The cover was shown off, which features characters like Thunderwing, Arachnid, Bludgeon, which were characters I got to design new looks for their first interpretation of this new version of Transformers. It also includes the Technobots and Lodestar, which is the Titan whose city speaker is Lightbright.
Yeah.
I found it quite fun to work on.
Nice.
I might have went a little over the top with some of the detail with it. I was just like, oh, this is fun here. Look at this. When you see the pages, you'll be like, wow, how did he not go mad? The truth is, I went mad a long time ago. So mad is normal now.
Has anyone been like, you have to cut down the details, we don't have time with this?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I try. I can't. The hand's on autopilot. It doesn't want to stop. It just keeps drawing.
Yeah. I'm more of a minimalist myself. I actually try to cut down details while you're just just stuffing in details. But that's the thing too, that we are completely two different artists, and so should you there watching on the camera on the other side. Be yourself and do your own style. Speaking of which, what do you think is like for a young artist? What would you think is the three main important things to learn, and for a new artist, for a young artist?
For new artists, probably perspective, of course. Especially if you're drawing Transformers or anything like that requires shapes. You want to understand how to show those in proper perspective. It also helps with your storytelling in a way that you want to know more than like a 1-point perspective. You want kind of know 3.
Yeah.
That makes things a little bit more realistic looking.
3-point perspective.
Yeah. I'm not telling new artists to go fancy and go 5-point perspective, because that'll drive you mad.
Oh yeah.
I did that once, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do it again.
Yeah, been there. Been there.
I'll do it again in another like 5 years, and I'll be like, okay,
that's enough.
I'll be like, I built up my confidence again after trying that mistake the last time. You want to work on storytelling, like how things move from panel to panel, from page to page. A classic way of looking at it is, for North American comics, we read right to left. So you want your motion to go this way, down to the next panel this way, down this way. Let's see. I guess anatomy also. Like, I'm not telling people that they have to be strict with the anatomy, but having a basic understanding of anatomy, once you have that, then you can start playing around with distorting it to whatever style you want to draw in. So I'm not saying that you have to be rigid with this, but knowing it will help you construct characters and make them believable in the world that you create.
Yeah. I would like to say there also, I've seen this so many times, like, don't use your anatomy as an excuse for not learn how to draw hands or other body parts. I've seen a couple of artists, at least in my lifetime, who say that, yeah, but this is how I draw hands, this is how I draw humans. And I can already say that, no, you're using that as an excuse because you don't know how to draw humans.
Yeah.
Just put down the groundwork, buy yourself a sketchbook, and just, you don't have to show that sketchbook to anyone. Just burn it afterwards if it makes you feel bad. But just do the groundwork to perspective and anatomy.
Yep. Those are key fundamentals for anything. Especially if you're going into a visual medium which requires storytelling.
Yeah. Completely agree. Yes.
Will we see more Transformers from you in the future?
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah. Now
Will you come
we
to
have
Sweden?
Yeah.
Will you come to Sweden, you think, when all of this Corona stuff is over?
I'll never say no, but I'm not sure, because overseas trips are very costly.
Yeah.
But I'm never opposed to going to new places and meeting new people. That's always a fun part of the job, is to meet the fans, because they're everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
We have a little special thing in every episode where we have the last guest ask our You guessed a question. So I will split my screen with you now, where Jessica Giovanni will ask you the question.
She did the voice to Wingblade in
She did, yes.
in Transformers Cyberverse and also in the Transformers Netflix series for RC.
No.
Yeah, can you see it?
Yes, now.
So here's the question.
Okay, so if he could create his own Transformer, what would it look like, and what would it transform into?
Your own Transformer, you can... what will you look at and what will it transform into?
Well, it's funny because I've been doing this type of thing for a lot of my career. Like the DJD are my visual creations, right? Like I created the look of them. So basically, those guys. Star Drive, I helped create. So her, like, you can find a lot of them in like some of the OC characters that I've designed for More Than Meets the Eye and everything. Like these are characters that I helped create. Like Velocity, I created her. Like James Roberts created her personality and dialogue, but I created the character for him to use because he's like, I need a bunch of female characters, so I created a bunch of female characters for him to use. So this is a very difficult question because I've done a lot of my own characters already.
Okay, you can then. What character that you have developed are you most proud of?
I'm gonna pick two. I'm gonna pick Tarn and Star Drive. Those are my top two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Linda love the DJD, by the way. They're an awesome design.
I have that. So not transforming, but it's that official third-party figure of Tarn. He's like right up here.
I've been looking at it so much.
He looks down on me. He's like, keep working.
Yeah. That's
better.
why you're a Decepticon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't literally switch side because he'll just come there and torture you 20 hours. But I still have the question though, like if you randomly would do a character right now, what would it be?
If I created a new character right now.
Yeah.
Putting me on the spot for creating.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't have enough. We don't have enough boat Transformers, so I'd want it to be a boat of some sort. I'm not sure if it would be like a battleship or an aircraft carrier. And then I don't know. I have no problem with female Transformers, so why not make it a female Transformer too? I don't have any hang-ups on that. I don't need to justify how they came into being. They just are.
Yeah. A huge female Transformer boat. That would be pretty nice.
And the color?
The color? I'd say a blue-gray of some sort.
Yeah.
So a blue-gray female Decepticon warship, I say.
Why not? That sounds great.
Why not?
Sounds beautiful.
and to keep up my tradition, why not also have her turn into some sort of jet? Make her a triple changer.
Ooh.
Yeah, there aren't many triple changes to boat and plane.
She can go up against Broadside.
Yeah.
So she's a big lass. Do you have a name for her?
that would have to take a little bit of thought there. I don't think I could do that
Yeah.
on the spot. Naming a character is very important.
Mm.
You don't want to just come up with the first thing that you off the top of your head. That never really works.
Mm.
Put a lot of thought into it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm still on the DJD, you know. Was it your idea to put Tarn's face or put a Decepticon logotype on his face?
That was one of the There are certain elements that James Roberts wanted.
Mm.
Like he didn't know. Like he didn't have a big description of the characters, but he's like, he has to be wearing a Decepticon symbol on his face.
Mm.
That was it. That one of them turned into an electric chair.
Mm.
That one of them had like a meat grinder in their chest.
Yeah.
So these are just like very basic descriptions of these characters. You have a name and then this, and I'm like, all right. So I went over. His other thing was like he needed 2 fusion cannons on his arm because one wasn't good enough. He has to have 2, right?
Yeah, Megatron
So like,
2.0.
Mm. And
so I came up with a lot of like different sketches and everything, and like we came to what he looks like in the book now.
yeah. And Nicole, was she supposed to be there from the beginning?
No. And that came up in a book that I didn't get to work on. I did have a design for her later on, but it was not ready in time to be used. So it went with, because the basic design brief was a small robot like the size of Bumblebee.
Yeah.
So I had come up with something for that, but that was Sakamoto who designed her.
Okay.
Did any of the DJD alt modes come by you?
I know that Voss was to be a sniper rifle, and I was like, "Hey, James," because I had already drawn issue 3, and there was a flashback scene of Megatron holding this really elaborate sniper rifle. I was like, "Hey, wouldn't it be interesting if that was like Voss?" And James was like, "I like that. Make it happen." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Crap! Now I have to figure out how to make that rifle that I had already designed, not thinking it was a transformer, into a transformer."
And you, what have I done?
Yeah, that was one of those moments like, oh, don't open your big mouth again. Like that was a mistake, but it worked out.
The idea is really cool.
Yeah. We haven't really seen so much Transformers transforming into guns since Megatron.
Yeah.
So I was really happy. It took me back a little bit, but I really like it. Also, I'm a really big fan of Nicole, even though she's not officially really a DJD. She's just their medic in some way. But I really like the gang. I'm actually collecting on Dinobots right now, but whenever I can, I think I actually would love to have the DJD figures somewhere. That would be really cool. Yeah, they're well needed, I think. I love it.
They are. Now we will do a segment that is called Spin the Wheeljack. So I will share my screen. And Linda, will you explain?
Yeah, so the wheeljack is a wheel. And the wheel is going to tell us what we are going to talk about next week. So we have a little bit of stuff here. It's in Swedish, but if you want, you can give us a new segment, what we could talk about, if you have anything.
No, I don't have any ideas off the top of my head. So spin it.
Spin it.
Yeah.
Oh, finally,
course.
Linda.
The Dinobots.
We will talk dinos next time.
Yeah,
And
I could
yeah,
totally
they
do
have
that.
many fans.
Yeah.
I'm a dinosaur kind of guy in every perspective, not
Mm.
just Transformers.
Dinosaurs are cool.
Yeah. We are running out to the ending of the podcast, but we have one great surprise left for you. Will you take it, Linda? Usually you do this part.
Yeah, usually I have a part called a quote or a Linda quote. And anytime we have a guest, I give my Linda quote to the guest. So the quote goes like, quote goes in the beginning of the podcast, and it's usually a quote from the Transformers. So would you like to give us a quote that we can put in the beginning of the podcast?
Yeah. This is bad comedy.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
It's from the Transformers movie 86.
Mm.
By Galvatron.
Of course.
Yes, of course. Leonard Nimoy. Spock.
Yeah.
But I think that was all we had. If you don't have anything you want to bring up in the end here that we have forgotten.
I don't think there's anything that I need to bring up.
Well, if you have anything you have a commercial or anything you want to.
Well, like I've been talking about a lot. If you want, check out when it becomes available, the Transformers Annual 2021, written by Brian Rockley, art by myself, colors by John Paul Bove. 30 pages, should be quite enjoyable. I enjoyed working on it. Got to draw a lot of interesting stuff. And maybe you can spot all the sci-fi Easter eggs I threw into the book.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted. Yeah.
Of course.
I think that was all. And in the end, I always say, till all are one.
May your lustre never dull and your wires never cross.